What? You could stay silent in the face of this great danger? You would leave a loving father prey to error? Cruel one, if you scorn the power of my tears and consent without pain to leave me forever, go, then, distance yourself from poor Aricia, but at least defend your life by leaving her. Protect her honor from shameful reproach and ensure your father's vow is revoked. There is still time. Why, from what whim of yours, do you leave the field open to your accusers? Enlighten Theseus.
What have I not said? Should I shed light on the dishonor to his bed? Should I, in making a statement all too sincere, cover with shameful blushes the brow of a father? You alone have pierced this odious mystery. Only to you and the gods can I speak. All that I hide, and judge now if I love you. From my own self I could never hide from you. But remember the seal under which I've spoken, my lady, and forget that speech if you can, and never allow those lips in their purity to open and then relate so vile a story. Let us dare to trust the gods' justice, vindicating these in their best interest. And Phaedra will be punished. The guilty will not escape, someday, true infamy. I will ask you of this one unique service. I leave all the rest to my liberated wrath. Flee that to which you're reduced, this slavery. Follow my flight, accompany me. Tear yourself for what's fatal and profane here, where virtue breathes a poisoned atmosphere. And in order to hide your prompt escape, profit from the confusion my disgrace creates. I can provide you with the means for flight. The only guards surrounding you are mine. Powerful defenders will support our cause. Argos extends her arms to us. Sparta calls. We'll carry our pleas to our mutual friends. Let Phaedra not gather what we leave behind, nor promise her spoils to a son of her own, nor drive us both from the inherited throne. The time is ripe now. We must seize the moment. What fear restrains you? You seem uncertain. Your rights alone inspire this boldness in me. When I am on fire, why do you look on so coldly? Are you afraid to march to an exile's step?
Alas, how dear to me, sire, such banishment. Joined to your fate, and in such ecstasy I'd live to be forgotten by all humanity. But not being joined by marriage's sweet tie, could I with honor leave here at your side? I know I could free myself from your father without harming even the strictest honor. I would not be escaping a parent. Flight is allowed for those who flee a tyrant. But you love me, my lord, and my honor, God?
No, I have too much concern for your reputation. A nobler plan brought me here before you. Flee your enemies. Follow your husband, too. Free in our sorrows, since the heavens so will. The pledge of our faith depends on no one else. Marriage is not always lit by nuptial flames. At the gates of Trojan, among those graves, the ancient tombs of the princes of my race, is a sacred temple where perjury has no place. There no mortal man dares to swear in vain. Against false oath his punishment is certain. And fearing to meet there with inexorable death, no place more surely constrains deceitful breath. There, if you trust in me, we will approve the solemn contract of our eternal love. We'll have as witness the God worshipped there. We'll pray that he acts towards us as a father. I'll call the names of the most holy gods, of chaste Diana and Juno the August, all the gods, in short, witnessing my tenderness, will guarantee the faith of my sacred promise.
The king approaches. Go, prince, leave this instant. To mask my departure, I'll stay here a moment. Go, now. Leave me a faithful servant, though, to direct my timid steps towards you.
You gods, lighten my burdens, and deign to show to me the truths I am seeking here below.
Think of everything, Ismene. Prepare our flight.
You seem troubled, lady. Your face is pale. Why was Hippolytus with you here as well?
My lord, he was speaking an eternal farewell.
Your eyes have tamed that rebellious heart. His first sighs resulted from your happy art.
My lord, I cannot deny the truth to you. He did not inherit your unjust hatred too. He never treated me like a criminal.
I understand. He's sworn a love eternal. Do not rely, though, on a heart that's so unsure. He's sworn as much to other girls before.
He, my lord?
You should have made him less fickle, though. How is it you endure to share him so?
How could you endure that such terrible lies would darken the course of so fine a life? Have you so little knowledge of his heart's reality? Do you understand crime and innocence so poorly? Is it only your eyes an odious cloud covers, hiding his virtue that shines out to others? To leave him to malicious tongues now. Stop, and repent of your murderous vow. Be fearful, my lord, fearful lest heaven's rigor hates you enough to execute your desires. Offered in anger, it accepts our sacrifices, and its gifts are often punishment for our crimes.
No, you'll conceal his offense in vain. Your love blinds you in favor of the man. But I trust in sure, irreproachable witnesses. I've seen true tears flow to excess.
Take care, my lord. Your unconquerable hand from countless monsters has freed the land, but not all are destroyed, and one remains. Your son, my lord, forbids me to declare what, knowing the respect he'd show to you, I'd grieve him too much by daring to pursue. I'll echo his discretion and flee your presence so that I'm not required to break my silence.
What is she thinking? What do these words hide? Hesitantly begun and then swiftly denied? Do they think to blind me with another useless feint? Do they conspire to cause me inner pain? I myself, despite my firm severity, what plaintive voice calls out within me? Hidden pity afflicts me and numbs my mind. Let me question Anone a second time. I wish to be clearer about this whole matter. Guards, have Anone come alone to me here.
I'm not aware what purpose the queen intends, my lord, but I fear where these throes may end. A mortal despair is printed on her face. The pallor of death already leaves its trace. Already, driven in shame from her side, Onone has drowned herself in the ocean tide. No one knows what made these wild thoughts arise, but the waves have snatched her forever from our eyes.
What is this I hear?
Her death has not calmed the queen. Already, the pain in her troubled soul seemed to increase. From time to soothe her hidden sorrow, she holds her children, drenched in a tearful flow, then suddenly, renouncing her maternal love, pushes them far away from her in disgust. She takes irresolute steps at random, her wandering eyes recognizing no one. 3 times she began to write, and changed her mind, then tore up the letter she had begun to write. 3 times. Deign to see her, my lord, deign to help her.
Anone is dead? And you wish to die, Phaedra? Call back my son, to defend himself, so that he may speak to me. I'll hear him. I'm ready. Do not precipitate your deadly gifts yet, Neptune. I prefer it if nothing were granted. Perhaps I trusted too closely in false witnesses, raised my cruel hand too soon for you to bless. Ah, what despair would follow my answered prayer. Theramenes, is that you? Is my son not there? I had trusted him to you at a tender age. But why these tears I see you shed today? What of my son?
Oh, useless tenderness! Tardy and idle care, Hippolytus is dead!
You gods.
I have seen the best of mortals die, and I dare say as well, my lord, the least guilty.
My son is no more? What? As I stretched out my arm, the gods impatiently hastened to do him harm? What lightning struck? What blow has snatched him?
We had barely left the gates of Trojan. He was in his chariot. His gloomy men, echoing his silence, ranged around him. Pensive, he took the road to Mycenae. His hands had let the horses' reins hang free. Those proud stallions that previously appeared, nobly obeying his voice and full of ardor, with grieving eyes and with lowered brow, now seemed responsive to his thoughts. A fearful cry, risen from the depths of the sea, troubled in an instant the quiet of the scene. From the heart of the earth, a strident voice replied with groans to that formidable noise. The blood froze in our heart's profoundest depths. The manes of the startled horses stood erect. Meanwhile, from across the watery plain, a liquid mountain rose through boiling waves, neared us, shattered, and vomited to our eyes a raging monster. Its broad brow was horned, armed with menace, its whole body scaly, yellow as jaundice, untamable bull or an impetuous dragon, its hind legs coiled like a torturous serpent. Its long drawn-out bellowing shook the shore. The heavens viewed the savage monster with horror. The earth quaked, the air was infected, the terrified wave that carried it recoiled, all fled. And not pretending useless bravery, each man sought refuge in the neighboring sanctuary. Hippolytus, alone, worthy to be a hero's son, reined in his horses, seized his javelin, drove at the monster, and with a steady hand dealt it a gaping spear wound in the flank. The monster rose upwards in pain and anger, fell at the horse's feet, groaned, rolled over, and presented its fiery muzzle to them again, covering them in blood, smoke, and flame. Panic took them, and deaf as they were then, they recognized neither voice nor the rain. Their master exhausted himself in useless struggle, while in the blood-wet foam they stained their bridles. They even say some saw, in that wild confusion, a god who goaded their dusty flanks of vision. Their fear drove them headlong over the rocks. The axle groaned and shattered. Brave Hippolytus saw his whole chariot breaking into fragments, while he himself fell entangled in the harness. Forgive my sorrow, but that cruel sight to see will be an eternal source of tears to me. My lord, I have seen your unfortunate son dragged by the horses nourished by his hand. He tried to call to them, but they feared the sound. They ran. His whole body was one vast wound, and the plains echoed to our sorrowful cries. At last, they slowed their impetuous flight. They stopped not far from the ancient sepulchres, where lie the cold relics of our ancestral rulers. Sighing, I ran after him, and his guards followed behind. The track of his noble blood ran on ahead. The rocks were stained with it. The cruel brambles were strewn with his hair and blood-wet tangles. I reached him, called. He stretched out his arm to me and opened his dying eyes before closing them suddenly, saying, "From me, heaven claims an innocent life. Take care of my dear Aricia after I die. Dear friend, if ever my father's eyes are opened, and he pities the fate of his falsely maligned son, and wishes to appease his blood, his shade so restless, tell him to treat his captive with tenderness, and give back to her. The hero was no more, leaving in my arms only a disfigured corpse, sad object of the gods' triumphant anger, unrecognizable even to his own father."
Oh, my son, dear hope now snatched from me. Inexorable gods who served me all too surely. To what mortal regret my life will now be given.
Then Aricia, frightened, arrived on the scene. She came, my lord, fleeing from your anger, in the god's sight having taken him as husband. She came, and she saw the grasses' red steam rise. She saw, what a vision for lovers' eyes, Hippolytus lying there, robbed of color and form. At first, she doubted her own misfortune. And no longer recognizing the hero she adored, she asked for Hippolytus, whom indeed she saw. But, realizing it was him that was before her eyes at last, she accused the heavens with one sad glance, and cold, grieving, almost inanimate, fell at her lover's feet there in a faint. Ismene, bathed in tears, Ismene, by her, recalled her to life, or rather to sorrow. And I, hating the light, I have come, my lord, to relate to you the hero's last words, and to relieve myself of the painful duty that his dying breath committed to me. But I see that his mortal enemy comes.
So, my son is lifeless, and you triumph. How right I was to fear. With what true reason, forgiving him in my heart, came cruel suspicion. But, my lady, he is dead. Possess your victim. Justly or unjustly, rejoice in his ruin. I'll allow my eyes to be deceived forever. I'll believe him guilty, since you were his accuser. His death gives me reason enough for tears, without searching into other matters. It won't restore him to me in my grief again. Perhaps it would only serve to increase my pain. Let me, far from these shores, from everybody, flee the blood-stained vision of my ruined son. Dazed, obsessed by a guilty memory, I banish myself from this world entirely. Everything seems to rise in the face of my ill ruling. I even hate the kindness the gods have shown me. Now, I must weep at their murderous favors, wearying them no longer with useless prayers. Whatever they've done for me, their fatal love cannot restore what they've robbed me of.
No, Theseus. I must break my unjust silence. To your son I must restore his innocence. He was in no way guilty.
Ah, wretched father! Cruel one, do you think to be forgiven?
Each moment's costly to me, Theseus. Listen. His eyes profane, incestuous on that son of yours, so chaste and virtuous. Heaven lit the fatal flame within my breast, that detestable and no name managed all the rest. She feared lest Hippolytus, learning of my ardor, might reveal a passion that filled him with horror. The traitress, profiting from my profound weakness, hurried to you to denounce him to your face. She has punished herself and escaped my just anger. Was seeking in the waves a far gentler torture. The blade would have already ended my fate too, but I wished to let virtue suspect it cry to you. I wished, in exposing my remorse to you, to go down to the dead by a slower route. I have spread through my burning veins, poison that Medea brought to Athens. Already the venom flows towards my heart. An unaccustomed chill pierces in the dying heart. Already I see as if through a clouded sky, heaven, and a husband my presence horrifies. And death, from my eyes stealing the clarity, gives back to me the day defiled all its purity. lord.
If only the memory of so black a crime could die with him entirely. Let me, now that my error is all too clear, mingle my wretched son's blood with my tears. Let me clasp my dear boy, embracing what is left, to expiate the madness of a prayer I now detest. As he deserved, so let me do him honor, and the better to appease his spirit's anger. Despite the plotting of her guilty brothers, take his loved one from this day forth as my daughter.